Before we start, tell me where you are watching from and how much time you have right now. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the full hour. Drop your state and the county courthouse in the comments. We are about to follow a $5 line in a docket into a year underground. Open the county criminal docket for a Monday term. The clerk writes in a small, steady hand. Vagrancy. Fine $5. Costs $7. If unpaid, hired a contractor. The judge initials the margin. On the next page, the minute book repeats it with the full phrase, defendant failing to pay fine and costs. The court orders him hired out to the lowest responsible bidder for the term necessary to satisfy the same. There is no lawyer noted. There is no jury. The sheriff steps forward and takes custody. Turn to the sheriff's jail ledger for that week. One line adds the man to the roll at dusk. The ration column lists bread, meat, and beans. The fee column lists 40 cents per prisoner per day to be charged to the county. The next morning, a second line appears. Delivered to contractor's agent. The sheriff fee book records 2 items that always travel together on these days. Chains, 2 sets. Rail transfer ticket to coal camp number 3. The ticket stub carries a date, a milepost, and a signature from a railroad clerk who has learned not to ask questions when the county pays cash. Now check the treasurer's receipt book. The county receives $5 in fine and $7 in costs on paper. The money does not come from the man. It comes from the contractor's deposit, already on file to cover what the court calls satisfaction. The county commission minutes show the arrangement in clear lines. The county leases convicts to the company at a per-head rate per day until fines and costs are discharged. The contractor pays the county. The sheriff earns his per-prisoner fees. The man earns nothing. Open the lease contract between county and company. The boilerplate reads like a price list for bodies. Rate per man per day. Company to provide food, clothing, and medical attention. Company to pay a penalty for escape. Company to bury at company expense. A short clause binds the county to deliver such convicts as may be sentenced and fail to pay fines and costs. A longer clause binds the company to accept at the depot on notice from the sheriff. The signatures are a commissioner, a company agent, and a bond surety. The bond sits in the clerk's drawer in case the company fails to remit. Back to the courtroom for the afternoon docket. The clerk runs 6 cases in 1 hour. Drunk and disorderly, loitering, riding a freight car without a ticket, vagrancy again. The amounts repeat like a drum, $5, $7 costs. If unpaid, hired a contractor. The handwriting tightens as the day wears on. The judge initials 1 stack at once. The sheriff writes a single receipt for 3 prisoners to speed the transfer. The jailer lists shoes issued and shackles returned in pencil, 2 marks that say more than any sentence on the page. At the depot, a porter writes an entry in a small book kept by the railroad for movements no timetable shows. Sheriff party, 3 bodies, agent of coal camp. Number 3 received. The porter initials the line and notes the car number. The company agent signs next to the words received in good order, a phrase meant for barrels and crates. The sheriff keeps a carbon copy for his fee claim. The county will pay him for mileage, for days of custody, and for each delivery. The totals make sense only if men move. Ask the company clerk for the payroll ledger in the first week after arrival. The prisoners appear as numbers, not names. The wage column shows 0. The credit column shows board, doctor, guard, clothing, shackles. The balance line drops below 0 by the second week, then disappears when a note in red transfers the account to county satisfaction. Satisfaction means the county has been paid. It does not mean the man goes home. The lease contract allows the company to hold a prisoner beyond the fine term under a separate labor paper signed at the stockade gate. The signature is often a mark made under a guard's eye. Return to the courthouse and open the judge's order book for Saturday. A single page lists hire to contractor for 9 names taken in 1 week. The column totals show fines and costs already credited to the county. A short note at the bottom says, "Recorded and approved." The judge closes the book. The sheriff folds his week's receipts. The treasurer balances a ledger. The company agent telegraphs the camp that 3 more men are coming on the evening train. The men wait in a holding cell and look at a wall with whitewash rubbed thin where hands have traced the same crescent year after year. Open the sheriff's fee book. 1 page explains the motive in plain ink. Per prisoner per day, 40 cents. Serving warrant, 50 cents. Mileage, 5 cents per mile. Guard hire per day, $1. A column at the right totals deliveries to contractor. The sheriff is not paid when a man pays his fine. He is paid when a man cannot, when days stack, and when bodies move. Now the jailer's ration ledger. Every mouth is money. Bread, beans, salt pork, costed to the county at a fixed rate. At the end of each week, the sheriff writes credits beside the names who left for the camp. The county pays the rations anyway. The company pays the county for the same men on arrival. The gap between those 2 payments is where the fee book fattens. Pull the purchase slips the sheriff files with the treasurer. Chains, 2 sets. Padlocks, 3. Shackles, assorted sizes. Canvas mitts. The supplier writes delivered to jail, and the treasurer stamps paid. On the back of 1 slip, the deputy adds 1 set lost in transit. The loss is charged to the county and recouped from the next delivery to the camp as damage. The company agent marks deducted on his receipt. The prisoner is not a person in any of these lines. He is a unit that carries fees, losses, and deductions. At the depot, a small rail transfer book lies under glass. The railroad clerk writes sheriff party and a number. He lists 3 prisoners, 2 guards, 1 agent for coal camp number 3. He stamps a time. He takes cash. The sheriff slips his carbon copy into the fee book with a pin. The fee claim for the month will show mileage, guard hire, board, chains, and delivery for each run. The county commissioners approve in a single vote. The same commissioners have already approved the lease that pays the county per head per day when the men arrive. Check the commission minutes. Approved sheriff's account for keeping and delivering prisoners. Next line. Approved payment received of contractor for hire of convicts. The sequence is the system. The sheriff is paid for the days before the train. The county is paid for the days after the train. The only part that does not earn is a man who pays cash and walks out. Open the order to hire out file the clerk keeps in a separate drawer. The forms are printed. The name, the offense, the fine, the costs, the total, the line if unpaid, hire to contractor, the judge's initials, the sheriff's receipt. 3 such orders sit behind today's docket. They match the fee book note chains issued and the depot line sheriff party at dusk. The paperwork moves with the timetable. Look at the guard time cards. 2 men are hired by the day for transport only. They initially received shackles at the jail and returned shackles at the camp gate. 1 card shows returned 1 short. On the margin, the sheriff writes lost on platform. The company agent's counter receipt writes received 3 bodies, 2 chains, and adds deduct padlock. The numbers argue, and the prisoner pays in steps and ankles. Open the county treasurer's journal. A neat pair of entries appears each week. Received of contractor, hire of convicts, amount. Paid to sheriff, keeping and delivering prisoners, amount. When totals are high, the docket that week shows vagrancy, loitering, riding a freight, drunk and disorderly, offenses that carry small fines and large costs. The judge writes costs $7 more often than he writes the law. Costs feed the loop, fines start it, fees finish it. Now the warrant stub book. Night arrests after payday, after a storm, after a rail layoff. The deputy writes picked up near depot, found asleep in shed, no visible means. The next morning the docket writes vagrancy. The same afternoon, The fee book writes delivery tonight. The system runs on the clock, not the face. Pull one man through the columns because a name makes the math hit. Thomas H. is written as Tom in the warrant, Thomas in the docket, and T.H. in the jail book. Fine $5. Costs $7. If unpaid, hire a contractor. The sheriff charges 2 days' keep at 40 cents each, 10 miles at 5 cents, 2 guards 1 day at $1 each, 1 set chains. The county pays the claim. The contractor pays the county. The company clerk writes, received T.H., good order. The payroll prints number, 27 for the new arrival. The wage line shows 0. The credit line shows board, doctor, guard. The balance is minus by the second week. Back to the fee book. At the bottom of the page, the sheriff totals the month. Deliveries to contractor outnumber discharges upon payment by 3 to 1. A pencil note reads, train missed once, storm, and added board 1 day. A second pencil note reads, extra guard for lively one. The lively one does not have a name in this line. He has a cost. Count the marks that keep the night smooth. Shoes issued, shackles returned, sheriff party, received in good order. The last mark tonight is a short cross the sheriff puts beside 3 docket names. It means tickets already bought. It means the coal camp has been told to expect them. It means the train will not leave empty. Open the county commissioner's minute book. A single vote sets the price of a man. Resolved. Convicts sentenced and failing to pay fines and costs shall be hired to the lowest responsible bidder. The clerk records bids from 2 coal companies and 1 brick works. The winning bid is a rate per head per day. The chairman signs. The sheriff is ordered to deliver at the depot on notice. Pull the lease itself from the clerk's file. Heavy paper. Blue ribbon. A bond pinned to the back. The boilerplate reads like an inventory. The company shall receive all convicts sentenced and failing to pay fines and costs. The company shall provide food, clothing, shelter, medical attention, and guards. The company shall keep said convicts at labor. The company shall bury at company expense. The county shall furnish leg irons and locks on first delivery. The county shall not be liable for injury or death. Read the price line twice. Rate per day per man. The figure does not change if the pit floods or the rail is slow. It only changes when the head count rises. A penalty clause sits under it, like a spur. For each escape, the company will forfeit a fixed sum and pay guard hire to the county until the man is returned. A discipline clause answers the penalty. Discipline shall be according to company rules. No limit is printed. Open the bond. A surety promises to pay if the company fails to remit. The bond amount equals a month of full camp wages at the head count the commissioners expect. The bond gives the contract a heartbeat even if the company folds. The men move either way. Turn to the appendices the clerk tied behind the ribbon. A delivery schedule. The sheriff will telegraph the camp by noon for an evening train. A medical certificate. A county doctor will write fit for labor or not fit. Not fit returns the man to the jail at county cost for 1 week, then to the camp if he lives. A clothing list, 2 shirts, 1 jacket, 1 pair of trousers, 1 pair of shoes, 1 cap, 1 blanket, 1 number stencil. A marking rule, all garments to be stenciled with camp initials and a number. Names drop out on the page, numbers take their place. Check the good time paragraph. There is none. The lease speaks in days owed to the county for fine and costs, and then in days owed to the company for charges. Charges are listed in a quiet column. Clothing issued, shackles issued, doctor visit. Guard fee for unruly conduct. Each charge extends the term at the same rate as wages were supposed to pay. Wages for leased convicts are set to 0. The extension runs only one way. Open the commissioner's inspection rules. 2 lines. The board may visit at pleasure. The company shall keep a book of punishments and a hospital daybook. No form is supplied for punishments. A form is supplied for the daybook. Date, name or number, ailment, disposition. Returned to labor, sent to quarters, died. The county signs the rule and never prints a schedule for visits. The rail clause explains the speed. Company shall meet the sheriff at the depot and receive in good order. The phrase belongs to freight, not to men. A second sentence allows the agent to refuse if not fit for labor, with a county doctor to be called if there is dispute. The doctor's fee goes to the prisoner's account. The account will never be positive. Now, the escape clause beside the guard table. Guards are company men. Keys are company keys. If a man attempts to abscond, the sheriff may be summoned. The sheriff bills the county bills the company bills the prisoner pays in days. Pull a second lease from the next county for comparison. The wording matches. Only the rate changes by a few cents. A brick works replaces a coal pit. The burial clause is identical. Plain coffin. Interment at company ground. A margin note in the brick lease adds quicklime if needed. The commissioners initial the note. They do not explain it. Return to Thomas H. His docket line became an order to hire out. His order became a telegraph to the camp. The lease makes him a number on a delivery schedule and a rate on a ledger. A company doctor scratches fit for labor on a printed line. The guard captain initials received in good order. The clerk stencils 27 on a jacket. The charges column opens the same hour. Clothing, shackles, doctor. The days start to climb above the fine he could not pay. At the end of the lease, beneath the signatures, the clerk presses an iron seal into the paper. The county crest blooms in the fiber. The price per head per day sits 5 lines above it in plain numbers. The pen strokes fade. The seal holds. Open the company payroll ledger for coal camp number 3. The first page answers the whole question in one line. Wages for leased convicts, 0. The next columns are charges: board doctor, guard, clothing, shackles, lamp oil, tools. Each charge is priced. Each price is carried to a balance that starts at 0 and moves below 0 by the end of the first week. Now the commissary book. The store sells flour, salt pork, beans, tobacco, lamp wicks, soap. It does not take cash from leased men. It issues scrip and takes scrip back. The prices do not match town prices. A pound of flour in town costs one price. In camp, it costs more. Tobacco costs more. Soap costs more. Every sale is marked to account. At the end of the week, the commissary clerk posts a tally sheet to the payroll ledger. The tally sheet does not carry names. It carries numbers. Open the script issue log. Paper chits and brass checks move in strict lines. Issue, number, 27, $1 in paper, 10 cents in brass. Redeem, no, 27, flour, pork, tobacco, soap. A note in the margin says, no cash out. Another note says store hours by horn. The horn blows after the shift. The men line up. The guard stands with the clerk. A man who reaches the window without scrip is turned away. Take Thomas H. across the page. The day he arrives, the clerk writes, receive T.H. Good order in the delivery book. The payroll prints number. 27. Wages, 0. Charges, board, doctor, shackles, clothing. The commissary book posts flour, tobacco, soap to number. 27 on the second day. The doctor's daybook posts liniment to number. 27 on the third. The guard time card posts 1 day extra for unruly on the 4th. The balance line for number. 27 is minus by the end of the week. It will not come back to 0. Open the doctor's fee book. The lease says the company will provide medical attention. The fee book shows charges for each visit posted to the prisoner's account. Dress cut hand, 10 cents. Cough medicine, 15 cents. Night call, 20 cents. The doctor initials each line. The payroll clerk copies the totals. The charges column grows. Now the guard time cards. The lease pays guards by the day and charges guard hire to prisoners for anything the captain calls unruly. The time card shows escort to store as 1 hour. The ledger carries the hour as guard hire to the prisoner's account. A man who argues pays guard hire again. A man who is slow pays guard hire again. The rule book is not printed. The ledger is. Look at the lamp house chits. Every miner checks a lamp at the start of the shift and returns it at the end. The lamp house posts oil and wick to the company. For leased men, the lamp house posts breakage and loss tag to the prisoner. The amounts are small. They are not zero. Small amounts carry weight when wages are zero. Turn to the tool room book. Picks, shovels, hand drills. The company replaces tools for free men and posts charges to leased men for damage and loss. A pick with a broken eye is damage. A shovel left at the face is loss. The charge posts to the number. The number posts to the charges column. The column does not let go. Open the weighman's sheet. Free miners argue over weight and pay a check weighman out of their own pockets if they can. Leased men do not have a check weighman. Their tubs are weighed by the company. The weight line sets output. Output for leased men does not move the wage column. Output moves only the discipline line. A short day can become unruly. Unruly becomes guard hire. The ledger climbs again. Read the company rule card tacked in the office. No cash paid. No visits without pass. Commissary records final. Doctor's charges final. Guard's charges final. A short line at the bottom says, credits entered when county satisfaction reached. The credit enters when the county's fine and costs are repaid by the company under the lease. The charges to the company account for clothing, shackles, doctor, guard, oil, and tools continue. The prisoner stays until the company account is at peace. Check the end of month balance page. The clerk writes statement beside each number. For free men, the statement shows wages minus store equals cash due. For leased men, the statement shows charges only. The line at the bottom says owing. The column of owing is long. The column of cash due shows blank for every leased number. Hold the company store receipt against the payroll entry for the same day. The receipt is signed with a mark. The mark is the only place where the man's hand meets the money. The mark does not change the ledger line wages zero. The mark does not change the charges column. It only proves a purchase at a price the man did not set, in a store he did not choose, with a token he did not earn. Open the discipline book that the lease says must exist. Loose pages, short notes, number, 31 talking at line, number, 27 slow at face, number, 28 store altercation. Each note carries punishment in one word, stripes, dark, extra guard. Only one of those words leaves no scar in a ledger. Dark costs nothing. Extra guard posts to the prisoner. The ledger prefers extra guard. Back to Thomas H. The county has credited his fine and costs on the judge's order. The camp has credited his delivery on the agent's receipt. The company has credited nothing to him. His line shows board, doctor, guard, clothing, shackles, lamp, tool, store. The balance says owing. The lease does not print good time. The store does not print credit. The ledger does not print home. Open the camp hospital daybook. A thin ruled page for each date. 3 columns that matter. Number, ailment, disposition. The entries run like a shift whistle. Number, 27, crushed hand, entry 7, dressed, returned to labor. Number, 31, cough, blood, liniment, returned to quarters. Number, 35, fall at tipple. No change. Watch. At the bottom, a short line in the same hand. 1 died. The daybook does not write a name. It writes a count. Now the accident report the company files for insurance and the railroad. A printed form with blanks for place, hour, machine, cause, remedy. The foreman writes entry 7, late shift, loose prop, failure to observe rule, Titan inspection. He lists 1 injured, 1 slight. He does not list the man the hospital marked 1 died. The railroad copy shows delay 15 minutes and clear at dawn. The line runs on time. The ledger runs on time. Open the doctor's case book. Longer notes priced at the margin. Crush, hand, dressing, 10 cents. Cough, tonic, 15 cents. Night call, 20 cents. One entry carries no price. Resuscitation failed. The doctor carries his pen to the payroll clerk after supper. The clerk posts the charges to numbers, and the word failed to none. Turn to the coroner's docket in the county seat. He writes no inquest when a company doctor certifies accident during labor on company ground. He writes removed by company when the body never crosses the county road to town. He writes unknown when a number arrives without a name. The docket shows no inquest for 3 camp dates in a single month. The same 3 dates show one died in the hospital daybook. The 2 books share a week. They do not share a sentence. Check the undertaker's invoice on the company desk. Plain pine, 1. Shroud, 1. Cart to stockade gate, 1. The delivery line is backward. The cart goes in, not out. The invoice is stamped, paid with the company seal. The parish register for the town lists no burial for that date. The sexton's bell book is blank. The ground that receives the box is not the churchyard. It is the row behind the slag heap. Unroll the cemetery plat the company keeps in a tube. A rectangle at the edge carries a small title in pencil. Convict Row. Tiny squares numbered to 90 and beyond. No names. The sexton's ledger in town records company ground, interment without service, when a minister refuses to walk the lane. The purchase order in the company book shows lime, 2 barrels, and spade edges dressed the same week. The hedge near the back path holds a white crust at elbow height where canvas brushed it. Open the rail spur log. When a man dies underground or does not stop, the spur shows 2 empties in, 1 load out, 1 flat for supplies. On nights with a death, a second flat appears with a single line, crate to stockade, late. The weighman does not weigh pine. He weighs coal. The pine rides dark. Look at the guard captain's pocket roll. He writes punishments in a few words, stripes, dark, extra guard. He writes extra guard most often. On the day after the hospital writes one died, his roll shows dark, 24 hours, 3 men, and extra guard, 5 men. The payroll posts guard hire to those 5 numbers. The extra day covers the shift while men stare at the place where a prop failed. The book does not say that. The numbers say it. Return to Thomas H. The doctor's book lists liniment in his line 1 week. 2 weeks later, the hospital day book writes number. 27. Chest, week, return to labor. The weighman's sheet shows a light day for his number after that. The guard roll adds slow at face, and the payroll adds extra guard to his charges. There is no line that reads rest. There is no line that reads fit no longer. There is a short blank at the end of a page, and then a new page. Fetch the company telegrams for public days. When an official from the state visits, the agent wires ahead. Prepare hospital, books, crew. The hospital day book for that date reads clean, no stripes, no deaths. The next day the writing returns to its old rhythm. Returned to labor. Returned to quarters. One died. The inspector who will ask for the book comes on a schedule. The day a prop gives and a chest fails, do not. Open the stockade gate book at sundown. It lists received from sheriff when men arrive and delivered to contractor when the county sends more. On a few lines it lists delivered to undertaker with a time after dark. Next to those lines a guard has drawn a small cross. No one will add to a payroll. The cross tells the captain which men must not speak at lights out. The cross tells the commissary to move a jacket and a number to storage. The cross tells the tool room to assign a pick to a new hand tomorrow. At the far edge of the camp, a line of small mounds lies flush with the grass. The plat calls them squares. The invoice calls them pine. The hospital calls them one died. The coroner calls them no inquest. The parish calls them not here. The ledger calls them closed. Open the company cemetery plat. A thin rectangle at the back fence carries a pencil title, Convict Row. Squares run in 2 straight files, numbers only, no names. The scale shows 3 feet by 6 feet per square, with a narrow path down the center. A note in the margin reads, "Flush with grade." No headboards tall enough to last a winter, no stone high enough to catch a wagon wheel. Now the sexton's ground book for the camp. Each entry is 4 words long. Pine box 1, lime spread. Pine box 2, lime spread. Dates cluster after storms and after accident weeks. The tool page beside it shows spade edges dressed, barrow pin replaced, mattock handle set. The same days the commissary orders sacks of sawdust, and the storekeeper issues 2 coils wicking for lamps at the gate. The work is after dark. Pull the purchase orders that make the row appear. Plain pine coffins, 12. Lime, 2 barrels. Shovel steel, 6. Fence pickets, 50. In the carpenter's bill, a line reads, "Boards for markers," with a second line replaced after flood. The company buys pine by the dozen and pickets by the bundle. The parish in town buys stone by the name. The prices draw a map without ink. Check the undertaker's invoices. In town he writes church, grave, hearse, fee. For the camp he writes cart to stockade and interment at company ground. He bills a shorter list. No hearse, no service, no choir. The company stamp says paid. The parish ledger stays blank. When a minister refuses a lane walk, the church minutes record it as no service given, and the company orders lime the same afternoon. Open the health officer's monthly. He counts deaths reported in town, deaths reported county, and a third line deaths on company ground. In months when the hospital daybook writes 1 died 3 times, the health officer writes 2 reported. He notes report delayed beside the missing third. The delay never shortens the graves, it shortens the paper. Go to the stockade gate book again. A few lines carry the phrase delivered to undertaker, with times after dusk. A guard pencil adds a small cross after each of those times. The same nights the commissary ledger shows coffee pots loaned and blankets issued to the hospital. The coffee returns the next day, the blankets do not. Look at the row itself with the foreman's maintenance log in hand. Fence repaired after wind. Markers reset after flood. Ditch cleared. After the big rain he writes restaked 30 numbers. The plat receives a second set of numbers in the margin, a duplicate count after the old stakes drifted. 2 plots now claim number, 27 in pencil. The payroll clerk scratches storage, jacket. 27 into the store book that week. The row is not a list. It is a set of squares that can be counted twice. Open the company photograph album, a picnic near the slag heap, a band, a prize hog, a banner. The far edge of the frame shows a fence with low pickets. The prints are dated by the studio stamp. The plat shows the same month 3 new squares shaded in. The album never labels the fence. The plat labels nothing but numbers. Pull the sawmill tally. Coffin boards, 1 dozen delivered at dusk 3 times in a quarter. The millman notes dry stock on each load. Green boards warp, dry boards bury. The tally aligns with the hospital daybook 1 died entries and with the commissary sawdust sacks. The alarm is never printed. The math is. Check the company chapel minutes if the camp keeps any. A line reads memorial held for fallen miner, free. The next line reads no service for leased, not members. The company clerk posts coffee to chapel the same day and lime to row the same evening. The ledger writes both lines with the same pen. Turn to the county map. The plat company filed for the cemetery stops at the back fence. Convict Row lies just beyond, on a strip owned by the company as outlot. The deed shows it as waste. Taxes are low on waste. Stones are rare on waste. If the camp moves, the waste can be graded, the fence reset, the row buried under fill. The county will not see a petition to vacate graves. The map will change a boundary line. The pickets will disappear under cinders. Return to Thomas H. The hospital daybook wrote, chest, weak, return to labor on a Wednesday. The week after, the stockade gate book lists delivered to undertaker at 9 at night. The cemetery plat shades a new square at the end of the second file. The number is faint because the pencil was wet. 2 floods later, the foreman writes restaked and sets the stake back into the ground 2 feet off. The plat now shows number, 27 twice. The store book still lists jacket 27 in storage. The payroll shows owing. The parish shows nothing. The row shows grass. Count 1 month as a ledger. Hospital, 1 died, 3 times. Undertaker, plain pine, 3. Commissary, sawdust, 6 sacks. Wicking, 2 coils. Maintenance, markers reset, fence repaired. Health officer, 2 reported, 1 delayed. Plat, 3 squares, shaded. The only line that says a name is in the jail docket, 8 weeks back. The only place that says Thomas is a warrant stub in a drawer 2 miles away. The row on the ground says number and a number that the rain can move. County 1 is coal. The Board of Commissioners voted hire to lowest responsible bidder. The lease rate is written per head per day. The sheriff's fee book shows deliveries to coal camp number 3 every Thursday night. The docket writes vagrancy, loitering, riding a freight, drunk and disorderly. Fines are $5. Costs are $7. Minute books add, if unpaid, hire to contractor. The Treasurer's Journal pairs 2 entries each week, received of contractor for hire of convicts, paid to sheriff for keeping and delivering prisoners. The company payroll ledger prints wages for leased convicts as 0 and posts charges for board, doctor, guard, clothing, shackles, lamp oil, tools. The hospital daybook writes 1 died 3 times in 1 month. The coroner docket writes no inquest for the same 3 dates. The undertaker invoices plain pine to stockade and is stamped paid. The cemetery plat shades 3 squares on Convict Row. The health officer reports 2 deaths in town, 1 delayed. The inspector's memo closes a case on a pouch retied and calls it clerical error. The county map adds a new name over the North 40 by quiet title, after warning orders ran with returned envelopes attached. County 2 is brick. The commissioners split the lease across 2 yards. The bids sit a few cents under coal to win the contract. The sheriff's rail transfer book lists sheriff party to brickworks number 2 after paydays and storms. The docket favors ordinances the yard push through council, trespass on clay pits, disorder on company street. Fines are small, costs are steady. The order to hire out sits pre-printed on the clerk's desk. The brick lease adds a margin note, quicklime if needed. The commissary ledger lists boots, soap, and tobacco at yard prices, above town prices. The script book issues brass checks that buy only at the yard store. The doctor fee book lists scald, lime burn, eye wash. The punishment roll writes dark and extra guard more than stripes. The chapel minutes show memorial for Freemason, no service for least. The undertaker invoices cart to yard and interment at company ground. The city health report lists no burial because the yard sits just beyond the line. The yard plat marks a strip as waste. The markers there are wood and short. Flood resets 4 stakes in spring. 2 numbers are written twice in pencil. The treasurer records hire paid in full. The yard ledger records charges unpaid and carries them into the next term. Men do not leave when the county is satisfied. County 3 is turpentine and timber. There is no rail spur. There is a road and a river. The lease is filed at the courthouse with a bond from a naval stores company. The sheriff's mileage claims are higher, and the guard hire claims are longer. The camp journal is a tally on loose sheets, cups set, boxes cut, barrels boiled. The commissary sells cornmeal and salt meat. The scrip is paper chits tied to a number. The doctor's book lists og, heat, cut foot, snake bite. The discipline page shows extra guard and chain to tree. The cemetery ground is a clearing beyond the still. The plat is a hand sketch with 10 squares, then 20, then more. A preacher writes no service beyond the line in a church minute book. The county health officer writes deaths on company ground, 2 reported and 1 delayed. The probate docket opens absentee estates for men who missed court dates by a river that flooded the crossing. Warning orders run in a weekly paper that the still does not take. Returned envelopes sit in the postmaster's drawer stamped moved left no address and not called for. The company store shows barrel staves as paid in full and labor as owing. The inspector's notebook for this district is thin. The distance keeps it thin. Lay the 3 counties side by side in the only columns that matter: court, fines and costs that start at $5 and $7. Sheriff, fee book that fattens on days kept, miles ridden, guards hired, chains issued, tickets bought. Lease, rate per head per day, escape penalty high, burial at company expense. Company books, wages 0, charges many. Hospital, 1 died written in a small hand. Coroner, no inquest when death is on company ground. Undertaker, plain pine to stockade paid. Cemetery, numbered row flush with grade, stakes reset after flood. Treasurer, contractor paid, sheriff paid. Recorder, deeds moved by publication when warning letters returned, stamped undeliverable. Inspector, pouch open and retied called clerical error. Health officer, deaths reported fewer than graves shaded. The same words keep repeating across coal, brick, and turpentine. Received in good order at the depot. Returned to labor in the daybook. Delivered to undertaker after dark at the gate. Open the courthouse first. Ask for 4 books by date. Criminal docket. Minute book. Order to hire out file. Commissioner's minutes. Photograph the line that starts the chain. Vagrancy. Fine $5. Costs $7. If unpaid, hired a contractor. Copy the judge's initials and the hour. In the commissioner's minutes, copy the vote that sets rate per head per day and the name of the company. Go to the sheriff's office. Request jail ledger, fee book, rail transfer stubs, and guard time cards for the same week. In the jail ledger, copy received at dusk and delivered to contractor's agent at depot. In the fee book, copy per prisoner per day, mileage, guard hire, chains issued, and any note that reads sheriff party. Photograph the transfer stub that lists 3 prisoners, 2 guards, agent of coal camp number 3, with a time and a car number. At the county clerk's desk, pull the lease contract and the bond. Copy 5 clauses without comment. Rate per day per man. Discipline according to company rules. Escape penalty. Company to bury at company expense. No county liability for injury or death. Copy the delivery schedule and the clothing list that replaces names with numbers. Walk to the depot file. Ask for the agent's movement book. Photograph the line that uses freight language on men. Received in good order. Note the date stamp. Note who signed for the company. At the camp, ask for 4 ledgers. Payroll. Wages for leased convicts listed as 0. Commissary book. Prices high. Marked to account. Doctor's fee book. Each visit charged to number. Discipline roll. 1-word punishments. Extra guard posts to the prisoner. Copy 1 page where board, doctor, guard, clothing, shackles, lamp, tools. Erase any hope of a positive balance. Find the number that matches your docket man. Open the hospital daybook. Copy 3 lines that fit into 1 breath. Number 27, chest weak, return to labor. Number 31, cough, blood, return to quarters. 1 died. Photograph the date. Do not add a word. At the county seat, pull the coroner's docket, the health officer's monthly, and the undertaker's invoices. Copy no inquest for deaths on company ground. Deaths reported 2, 1 delayed. Plain pine to stockade, interment at company ground, paid. In the church minutes, copy no service given if it appears. In the recorder's files, copy the quiet title or tax sale that follows warning letters, returned undeliverable. Unroll the cemetery plat. Photograph convict row, numbers only. Squares flush with grade. If the foreman's maintenance log shows markers reset after flood, copy it. 2 plots that claim the same number. 27 prove how easy it is to move a man twice. Assemble 1 row any juror could follow. Docket, $5 fine, $7 costs, higher if unpaid. Sheriff, fee book, miles, days, chains, guards, transfer stub to camp. Lease, rate per head per day. Burial clause, discipline at company rules. Company books, wages 0, charges many, balance owing. Hospital, 1 died. Coroner, no inquest. Undertaker, plain pine to stockade, paid. Plat, a number in grass. Recorder, land moved by publication after returned letters. No adjectives, only dates, stamps, signatures. Test 1 name to lock it. Start with Thomas H. in the docket. Track him as T.H. in the jail ledger. Received on Tuesday, delivered on Wednesday. Find number 27 in payroll with wages 0 and charges stacked. Read chest week in the hospital daybook, then delivered to undertaker in the gate book at 9 at night. Shade a square on the plat the next morning. Hold his warrant stub in your hand and notice it is the only place that still writes Thomas. If your county holds even half of these pages, the pattern will print itself. If you want the next archive to open on camera, tap subscribe and leave a like. Those clicks buy us time with the ledgers.